welcome back to the World Ski and Snowboard Festival in Whistler. I'm your Sea to Sky host, Nicole Fitzgerald, and you're watching The Express, your local voice. Ever heard of the Flying Tiger? We'll meet one food critic who swears that they have the best Asian fusion food in Vancouver.
Nestled in the heart of Kitsilano on West 4th is Asian fusion restaurant The Flying Tiger.
We try to take the best of the East and meet with the West. So we kind of fuse it together. The traditional dishes are always flavorful, but it can be kind of heavy for certain people that are not used to it. So what we do is we either tone it down or we tone it up, and we fuse it to that it's acceptable, you know, as a fusion style dish.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow. This is so good.
One of the Flying Tiger's biggest fans is Crystal Henriksen, who works for Yelp and found this restaurant on the Yelp.com site.
I was searching for reviews in Kitsilano and I stumbled across the Flying Tiger, and at the time there was probably like 1 or 2 reviews, and I read one of them and it was 5 stars by Rachel T, and I was blown away by how much she loved it. So I was like, why wouldn't we try it? I try everything, and all of a sudden I was a big time fan.
Crystal introduced me to some of her favorite dishes, among them the warm tofu salad, perfect for vegetarians, and my new favorite dish, the duck confit crepes.
Yeah, wow, I would never have thought mint, but what a great flavor in there.
Like, it takes the the heaviness away. I like pick and choose kind of food, so I really love to be able to like build my own salad, or in this case, build my own crepe.
It's actually our version of the Peking duck. And what we do is we have an oil crepe, a sesame crepe, and we steam it, and then we have fresh herbs, Thai basil, Vietnamese mint, cilantro.
Other standout dishes on the menu include Korean kalbi ribs, which are marinated for 48 hours, then grilled and served with a house-made kimchi, as well as hawker noodles, which have received many positive reviews on Yelp.
I feel like the food is consistently amazing. There's enough variety, so depending on whatever kind of group that I'm coming in with, there's enough to please like every palate. There's spicy, there's mild, there's sweet, there's sour. The staff has always been incredible, and you know, it's a place where you can actually get your Asian eats and a few cocktails on the side. Flying Tiger and these awesome chefs. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
When I bought a restaurant, I didn't just buy a restaurant, I inherited a family. You know, we all treat everybody like family. We work together as a team. And our goal is to create something that everybody appreciates. And then that's what makes us happy.
In Vancouver, I'm Kendall Harris for The Express.
Reporter Kendall Harris was so dedicated to her research that even after she wrote the story, she went back for some duck confit crepes. Well, what better way to wrap up a great day of skiing than coming out for some live music? The après ski season is upon us, so slather on the sunblock and grab your sunglasses. Next up, water recycling. Every organization should be doing it, even in space.
Nothing like a cool, crisp glass of water. Hey, it's Cam Cronin here for The Express at the H.R. MacMillan Space Center. And water is something we kind of take for granted, right? You turn your tap on in Vancouver and you're going to get water coming out. But this is not the case for astronauts on the International Space Station. Now, it's not that they don't have water. They have lots of water. It's the problem of bringing water up into space.
Booster ignition and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery.
Water actually weighs quite a bit. The problem is every single kilo that you take up into space costs money to bring into space. Now, the NASA program estimates that for 1 pound, it's $10,000 to bring that up into space. The key is recycling. We all talk about recycling at home, and that's great. You probably don't recycle a lot of your water at home. Maybe you use some leftover water to wash your plants or to put outside, and that's fine. But the International Space Station, they go one step further. They recycle all of the water. Now, I mean 100% of the water that they use up in space. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, it could get kind of gross if you're watching this, say, around breakfast time, but it means that the water that the astronauts produce when they're up in space, and I'm talking about the wastewater, that is recycled. That's one of the reasons why our astronaut here sitting on the toilet has 2 different things that they use when they go to the washroom. Now, we've talked about this before in Express segments, the vacuum toilet, so it's kind of like sitting on a vacuum cleaner, and that takes care of the more solid things that we produce, but you also have this device. This is sort of a vacuum hose that the astronauts use up in space. It has something called a urine collection tube, which, as the name would suggest, is for collecting urine. This is set up for the guys. Women use the same thing. It's just a slightly different shape. And you would, you know, pee into that. People ask, well, why do I have to separate those things? Well, because they do deal with those two waste products differently. The urine is actually filtered. It's filtered through a very special program, and it means that they can take that water and use more or less the same sort of natural system that Earth does. So when our rainwater falls, it's naturally recycled by the sand and the dirt and the silt, and it basically recycles in that water cycle that we know and love, and basically keeps us alive here on Earth. They've mimicked that system up in space. So that means the water that's taken from the urine can be clean and used again, consumed, which again is great. It means you don't have to keep moving that material up into space. It's a pretty amazing system up in space. Now, why is water important? Well, again, it keeps us all alive, but if astronauts are planning on spending long amounts of time out in space, being able to produce and have a clean source of water is vitally important. It's a pretty amazing system, and it's something to keep in mind. The next time you go to grab a glass of water, realize that, you know what, it is a pretty precious commodity. It might not be for us down here on Earth, but when you're living up in space, it's as good as gold. For the Express here at the H.R. MacMillan Space Center, I'm Cam Cronin, and bottoms up.
There's always something going on at the Space Center. Discover the Earth in HD. For the first time in the world, high-definition footage is being streamed from the International Space Center. Another thing to check out in HD, Shaw TV's half-hour special on the Whistler Cup. Just visit youtube.com/WhistlerShaw or youtube.com/TheExpressVan. Spring skiing, it's here at the World Ski and Snowboard Festival, and mountain biking is just around the corner. Can't make up your mind which to do? The Express Spotlight has a solution. To ski or not to ski in the face of the biking season? Do both at Crud to Mud. Start out on your skis or snowboard on top of Whistler Mountain, then halfway down, switch to your bike. More at WhistlerBlackcomb.com. The first Toonie mountain bike ride with the Whistler Off-Road Cycling Association is here May 2nd. Don't have a bike? Visit the Sea to Sky's biggest bike swap May 5th at Whistler Olympic Plaza. Get there early. Visit Warka.com for details. Get in shape for the mountain bike race season in Squamish. The first of 4. The Ore Crusher warms up bikers on the Best of Brackendale single track on May 12th. A great way to ready for the legendary Test of Metal in June. Snow today, single track tomorrow. Whistler Mountain will transform into the Whistler Mountain Bike Park on May 18th. But don't put away your skis and snowboards. Blackcomb will be open for shredding right until the end of May. And that wraps up this week's show at the World Ski and Snowboard Festival. From all of us on The Express, thanks for watching, and we'll leave you with some music from the Cat Empire.
I left the house, left the room with a foxy on my back and my supplies in a magic bag, and I followed the sound of music, not up a hill, but down to an old wall shack. Inside I heard the trumpets call, a salute to the champions on the wall, and in the jazz of squalls and in passion brawls she danced. Oh, and the night she looked so fine to me. Oh, I am a man on an odyssey, and so tie me to the mast, I must believe. Oh, diddy, I just had to look. I said, oh, diddy, I just stay shook. Singing up, patch, tongue, wing, little black book. Welcome fishies to my hook. Singing out that story, little black book. Welcome fishies to my hook.